We've done this already. We go to the regulator with a story on compliance and how this will not inhibit the regulator's ability to supervise, okay? This is just because I'm running out of time, but each commitment that Microsoft makes from a security and privacy perspective, there's a control underpinning, and there's a third-party auditor that's going to look at that control each and every year. And every year, all 1,100 controls get audited against. That's one of our 3 audits that we undergo every year. So obligation from a contractual perspective, but also we have a third party that as they audit, we're able to see whether we're actually complying, and you're able to see whether we're actually doing what we're saying we're doing, which I think is important. And then here, just my last slide, just a couple of examples on transparency and some of the information that we share with you. If you want to see how the data flows for your service, you can actually go and see certain maps. You get notified of certain changes. You get information on who gets the access to data. What are the scenarios where someone from Microsoft would get access to data. And then a lot of information on the technical side. Our audit reports, again, our security policies. And on the subcontractors, not only do you get the names of the subcontractors, of the companies, but also where they are headquartered and what do they do for us. So what is the hat that they're wearing when they're working with us in order to run the services. Some more information here on transparency in terms of law enforcement requests. And then the last thing that I wanted to let you know is we are involved. We have conversations with the regulator. We're also involved in seeing how we can help with this Digital India project, and we actually are getting requests from DITI to provide feedback to their cloud guidelines for empanelment for cloud service providers. We try to engage with them whenever they need any help and any information on cloud or these technologies. We partner with them because we just, we're one of many players in the industry, and we think this is a good thing for India. That, if people do it right and the right way, so that the government can still supervise and the companies can innovate. Okay, so that's it on my end. Are we done? Any other speakers? Okay, all right. So we have, sorry, yeah. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about what you've heard today, any areas that were not super clear. How many of you have been having conversations with your internal clients about exploring cloud? Is that something that you're seeing already, or not so much? Not so much? Okay, all right. Okay.
This from security, because we are into insurance business, so we have the customer data as well on that. So how to protect the security?
I think we have a whole, and I don't know whether you want us to have a conversation with you. There are many things at many levels that we do to protect the data. Pali mentioned, I don't know if you were here when he started his conversation, but everything from the actual structures, the actual data centers and all that physical security, to the actual data itself, encryption at rest, encryption in motion, encryption at the actual content level. So, excuse me, you can actually encrypt the mails and the content, restrictions on access to the data. So there's a whole host of things that we do together. We have these people that are called the red team, and all they do in their lives is attack the service. They work for us. They're always looking for vulnerabilities in the service. And then there's this other team called the blue team, and all the blue team tries to do is prevent that these vulnerabilities get exploited. Thank you. Exploited. When the red team is successful, the information regarding that vulnerability bubbles all the way up to the president of that organization, and they share it amongst all of the different services. So in addition to that, we take up a posture of not only preventing breaches from the outside, but also what we call assume breach. And assume breach is a philosophy that says, I am going to get attacked and I am going to be vulnerable. So how do I measure success? I measure success on how quickly I recover and how much I can limit the impact of the attack. So it's a different mentality. It's not about building, a red fort around me, right? It's about really thinking out of the box and thinking internally. We hire people who do penetration testing. So there's a full story, a full gamut. And we're happy to have a conversation with you one-on-one on that. We're happy to have someone from the business talk to you about some of the other things we do. But it's a $1 billion a year investment that we're making on security. $1 billion a year. So it's part of the DNA, and we do it in many different ways. Okay? So this is just kind of a quick summary that I thought of. I don't know if you want to add anything. Yeah.
When you think of moving this data from your private cloud to public cloud, I think one thing that we need to first understand is the blocker is whether it's a compliance piece or you're thinking more about security. So what is the blocker first? So is it a compliance or it's a regulatory kind of a thing?
It's a security.
Yeah, then security, then we need to assess, what kind of a security that you are doing today in-house, and then try to compare it, what we are doing in our data center. See, most of the time, I can assure you, our security will be much more because we are not only protecting your data, we are protecting other enterprise data as well, who are working closely with us. The customer that we work today, and especially around BFSI, most of the time they think that they are not able to move their data because it's a compliance issue. So we need to first segregate that. Once it's come to security, then we need to do security on data, whether it's in a rest state or security when the data is in a transit stage, or you're thinking of security of we guarding the physical location. So what kind of a security that you're looking for, and then we can get into detailed discussion, and we can analyze what's the blocker for you. But just based on the customer that we have worked, most of the time the security that you get in public cloud is much better than what you are getting today in the private cloud, because you as an organization will not be able to cope up with the change which is happening outside the world with a cloud provider like Microsoft, Amazon, or Google can do.
The other thing that I wanted to follow up on something Pali said, we've done a lot of surveys on the financial services world, just to get data from business people about their business. And so last year we interviewed over 12,000 business people from financial services from around the world. And there was some shocking data that came from internal practices of banks. So they themselves were saying that over 20% of them had no security incident breach process embedded. Over 20% of them did not have an official risk assessment management process. They did not have a formal one. And then they were saying, hey, we're getting attacked, more than any other industry. We had this bank where we were having a conversation about backups, about the data recovery. They didn't have backups. They just had their servers there. And we have 3 copies, and then 3 copies here, and then 3 copies there. So, when you start doing those, I think that's a really helpful analysis for us to learn. On the one hand, when you're doing things that are a lot more customized that you need, what are those things? Because again, we are morphing our service so that banks can adopt cloud. So we're doing that. So we need to know what you need that we cannot provide today so that we can replicate it or look for a way to innovate in that area. But at the same time, it's pretty eye-opening when you actually see what people are doing today and how really at the end of the day you're going to be better off. Now, at the end of the day, it's not all roses, right? I mean, we really think that cloud can help innovation. But at the same time, the aggregation of data, brings risks to it as well. It's not something that Microsoft can solve on its own or you can solve on your own. It's a collaborative effort with the customer, with other cloud providers as well. And so, we just want the financial services to be part of that conversation and to, work with us and partner to see what are the kinds of things that we can provide for your needs. So that's ultimately it. Any other questions? No, we're good. Okay, so there's a little tease.
Excuse me.
Oh, one question, yes. Or and
Mr.
to any of the other, speakers. So Pali's here and Minu's here and
I was with reference to Pali's
Pali. Okay.
remarks, he was telling what is the concern you were asking actually. To that, as far as I'm from bank, so from the bank side it is concerned, we may be, what Mr. Sekant is also told is whether any bank will go for a cloud for their data. It may not be because of any legal restrictions, but it may be for other concerns like that. We will be looking at what are the benefits in going to a cloud and whether it is convenient for us, then what are the risks involved in that, and of course the cost.
So let me answer this. For us, when you start adopting cloud, cloud is not just okay, you can adopt in a daytime. For us, cloud is a journey. You have to decide how you want to start that journey and where you want to end. That doesn't mean that we ask you to move everything on public cloud, everything. We never. We recommend you to run certain things on a private cloud. We can recommend certain things to run on hybrid cloud. We recommend, okay, certain workloads can go on public cloud. Now let me explain you what kind of a workload that you can start moving to cloud. Every big banks, every day they do some dev and test related work, okay, which is they building new applications and things like that. Those are the workload, there is no data involved, only thing you need is compute, you're doing dev and test, you can use public cloud for that. Your developer is in organization only for 8 hours, we will bill you only for 8 hours. Your saving there is straightforward 77% saving. So that's one workload that we ask you to explore. Second workload we ask you to explore is you're running your data or your core application from your primary data center, but in case if disaster comes in, you should have a ability to have your DR set up on cloud. Good example is Chennai. There will be a lot of hospitals, lot of banking customers, lot of enterprise. The data center were right there in their office, and trust me, it's really bad when you see a pathology lab will not able to generate reports and they are not able to run their business on that kind of a situation. So at least you can explore having your DR on cloud. Third is in any enterprise, there will be pockets of business users who need compute. For example, a marketing team in a bank will need compute to put up their websites, nothing sensitive data. It's just having some videos, pictures and things like that. Like ICCI today is using Azure for having their YouTube like portal where they just post some videos that maybe the other branches guys are using those videos and they do live streaming through Azure and things like that. So the point I'm trying to make is when you decide or recommend your clients, tell them you don't have to move everything to public cloud on day one. It's a journey. You can start with non-critical, non-mission critical application, move them first to cloud, get comfortable with cloud, and then as and when you're moving, you understand the trust that we will build with each other, you understand SLA that we are giving, you understand the security setup that we have, and then you can start moving your workloads to cloud. I'll work with a customer called Fortis Hospital. When we started, their Azure was very low kind of a setup for us. But today, if you see, right, they have moved everything from their private cloud, and now today they are close to 100% running from public cloud. And Fortis was not got impacted in Chennai flood because they were running from cloud. So depend on organization to organization, depend on the leaders who are running that organization can decide what kind of workload that you can run on cloud. And there are certain enterprise who has come up with this cloud first kind of a policy. What it means is they say, first do detailed analysis saying whether this new workload or new application can go on cloud or not. If it is not, then you put it on private cloud. So they have that policy as well. So there are means and way for you to assess whether you can put it on private cloud or not, or you want to put it on public cloud, or maybe you can go with hybrid. So it's all public cloud is all about choice that we are giving you. It's choice for you to see whether you want to go for a model which is more economic, more pay per use kind of a model, and give you flexibility to use less or use more. That kind of a model that we are giving. So it's more of a choice.
Based on your customers, either for Microsoft or other cloud service providers, which type of services normally the banking sector used to prefer to have in cloud?
So the three main services that we are seeing that banking customers are using, one is they are moving their dev and test to public cloud, which is coding related, any coding that they are doing in house, and they are doing testing and load testing, and those things are moving to cloud, which is one. Second, they are moving their DR and backup, those things to cloud. Again, not mission critical one, not the sensitive data, but the data which is not sensitive. So that is the second part. Third is departmental IT that I call, maybe application which you need, like a enterprise YouTube, or maybe a video sharing kind of a application, or maybe a marketing application or something like that, which is it's a departmental IT, not the central IT. So those kind of workload, and then emails and Office 365 people are using. So these are the four areas that any banking customers are using. And one more thing I want to add, see, you have two type of BFSI customers nowadays. Even born in the cloud customer who are using cloud from day one. I'll give you example. Or your payment bank, the new payment bank, upcoming banks, day one there everything is on cloud. Like I work with 4 or 5 upcoming banks. Now you know that payment banks are in, right? From day one, everything they are using is cloud. It says where you are born. Like if you are born in old age, you will prefer independent house. But for example, my son will love to live in apartment from day one. So from where you have come in, right, your thinking will be like that.
It's like you start getting you don't jump into the cold water, right? You start with your toes, and you try something to see how it works, and then you keep going. It's not about just jumping in there. And with banks, I mean, we know. I mean, we've been working with banks, forever and ever, and in that journey. Any other questions? There's some tea and cookies, and if you have any other questions as well, for those of you who are interested, we're here. You can have our cards. Happy to continue the conversation, we also have some leave behinds in the packages that you got, which are like our financial services fact sheets, where we did a bit of a gap analysis on a little bit like the slides that a perf presented on what does the law require, what's our story, what does the law require, what's our story, so that you get a bit of a sense of the work that we've done. Okay? Thank you so much for coming. We're very excited. Thank you to Mr. Shrikant for coming. Thank you so much for your words, and for Governancenow for hosting this event with us. Okay. All right. Thank you.